We are joyful, conscientious, nurturing, and sustainability-led. We offered free architecture, which is a big post that said free architecture. The idea was really that we wanted to connect and talk to members of the public and understand what they thought about architecture, as well as maybe giving them some ideas. And out of that, we got our first few projects. Yinki Ilori and Price Gore designed a colour pavilion for Dulwich Picture Gallery. We got a call saying, do you know what we could do with this timber? We've got all this wood left over. So what we did was we said, okay, we can use all this timber and we can create all these planters so that all the school children get to learn how to design, and then they get spread out across Southwark at all the different schools. So in a sense, the school children design their own planters to green their own community. House in a House won the RIBA, one of the RIBA National Awards 2021, and also the Architects Journal Retrofit Award for the individual house. And that project was an existing 60s house. Instead of demolishing the house, we built a warm coat around it, so another house around it, using the existing foundations, using a lot of the existing structure, so to lower the carbon required, lower the amount of material required, but creating a much bigger, more generous, nicer to live in house. The London Animal Hospital was the first animal hospital of its kind in central London. We took an old Printworks building, so basically a steel shed, and refitted it as this animal hospital. The idea was to try and make it not as clinical, but this sort of joyful space. If clients feel relaxed, then their pets feel relaxed. So the Slim House is 2.3 metres wide, so it's narrower than a tube carriage. And it was used to be an old stables, and we created this new house there, 3-bedroom house, but yeah, 2.3 metres wide, very much in line with the issues in London around not enough space, not enough place for people to live. One of the critical problems, and that where the design comes from, which is this big sloped roof, is how do you get light into the middle of the plan? We had lots of skylights, and so the light could penetrate deep into the plan. That won Don't Move Improve award. I think it is a growing trend because land in London is so scarce and so expensive. They're good demonstrations of how to use small spaces well, how through design you can turn small spaces into spaces that feel light, feel airy, rather than just these cookie cutter flats that you sometimes get, which feel very boxy, maybe low ceilings. It's not just about square footage, it's about how you use that. All materials use energy to create them and have an embodied carbon. The amount of energy, or the amount of carbon that's used, which is the thing that's making the earth warm up, how much carbon is used to create that material. So something like steel, which requires very intensive processes, has a very high embodied carbon. Something like wood, which actually traps carbon when it grows because it absorbs carbon dioxide into the tree, has a very low carbon. You still have to machine it and do things to it to make it suitable for a building. You want low embodied carbon, materials that are easy to recycle. And timber is the obvious one there, but there are other materials as well. So there is a move away from not just being sustainable, but creating buildings that actually benefit, not just reduce, but are regenerative. So they might increase the biodiversity of where they are. They may absorb carbon out of the atmosphere, so reduce the amount of carbon, so become carbon negative. So the move is definitely towards regenerative buildings that actually improve their environment, not just being less bad. So a classic one is hemp or hempcrete, so that's a bit like concrete but made out of hemp, and hemp absorbs the carbon. I think the big thing that everyone's talking about at the moment in terms of sustainability is net zero carbon. So we want to move to regenerative, but at the moment, creating buildings that don't add carbon back into the atmosphere and therefore increase the planet warming, or increase the effect of warming on the planet. So we're doing a big school in South London. It's one of the first retrofit schools which will be net zero carbon. And we're also working on an energy centre in Barking, which is producing heat and power for 10,000 homes. One of the things that we really have to concentrate on is how we reuse buildings. So Retrofit First is a campaign to make us really think before we demolish, and can we reuse that building, reimagine that building, make it environmentally friendly and give it a new life. 80% of the buildings that will exist in 2050 have already been built. So we need to know how to reimagine those buildings. They may not be the buildings we want anymore, the function of them may be different, but the structure of them we can probably reuse. We just have to be really imaginative about it. And I think that's one of the big challenges architects are facing.